Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop and welcome to part 3 of the Tumbi build project. Okay, so in the second episode I was shaping the neck, or I've done part of it already, did the shaft that goes through the body, and I'd started to shape the back of the neck, and it's now finished mostly, and you know, finalizing the sort of the shape and contour of the headstock and the shoulders here, and this bit at the back you can see I've taken a bit of an angle off of that. So overall I am really happy with this. The back corners that I was doing with the Shinto saw rasp, I also took it to my belt sander, my horizontal belt sander, which has got quite a long bed on it, about the length of this, so it worked out pretty good. So I was laying it on the bed and kind of rocking it backwards and forwards like this to take off the corners and to, you know, give it a nice sort of curved contour. And yeah, really happy with the results. And on my oscillating spindle sander I shaped this a bit. What else did I do? A couple of other bits. The only thing I'm not particularly happy with is these shoulder bits here. It looks a little bit bleh. So but yeah, for the most part I am really happy with how this has ended up. Really happy with it. I can't feel any corners or notches or divots or anything in the back there. I've only sanded it to 80 grit at the moment, but I just want to do a little bit more on these shoulders, see if I can get the shape on those a little bit more to my liking. The problem is if I you know, try to sort of get the curve in there too much, I end up taking too much off of this bottom part of the headstock. But I'll see if I can just tidy it up a little bit. So I'm using 80 grit. Just I just want to kind of even that out a little bit. As I said, I don't want to take too much off of the bottom part of the headstock. But I just want to try and get a nice curve on there. We all like nice curves, don't we? Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, let's just try and do that little bit at the back there. Yeah, not too bad. Don't want any corners or angles on it, you see. I want it, you know, sort of gentle curves. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over the whole thing, apart from this shaft. I need this to be still, you know, not ultra smooth, because obviously, you know, certain parts of this will be a gluing surface, so I don't want those ultra smooth, so they're fine as they are. This front face, which will be the fingerboard, I have already gone over that in 400s, but I'm just going to do a little bit more and round off the edges a little bit, not too much, but just so that they're not sharp and jagged along there. That's starting to feel quite nice. Let me just put the camera down a bit. See what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just kind of sanding the fingerboard nice and smooth, and just slightly rounding off the edges. Don't want any sharp or jagged edges on this anywhere. That's nice. Let's do that edge a little bit more. Okay, so as I said, I'm just going to go over the whole thing with 400 grit. Get it nice and smooth. I mean, it will get another final sanding again once it's all assembled, but you know, I don't want to put any extra pressure on the glue joints by doing this, you know, once it's assembled. So I'm going to do the bulk of it now, and then, you know, just a final light sanding once it's all together prior to staining. I haven't got much of this 400 left, and this is a little bit worn out, but it should be okay. Yeah, it feels nice. Let's do that top edge of the headstock as well. So we need a little bit extra. Because that's obviously the end of the grain there, and it's a bit harder to stand that. You get some slightly coarser grit. Let's see, this old worn out 100, that should do it. That's a bit better. Over it with the 400. It's quite tricky because there's not much surface there. That's better. Much better. Nice. Okay. Right, so make sure I get every part of the surface with the 400. I've also got some, what we've got, 600, 800, 1000 and 1500. Probably won't go to the 1500 at this stage, that'll be at the last stage, as I said, prior to staining. Yeah, feels kind of nice. It's a bit more on the headstock. Feeling a little rough there on one side. Yeah, that's pretty good. Right. Yeah, a little bit I missed there just on the back of the headstock in that sort of divot part there. Smooth. Right, so I'm going to go over again now with 600. Start with the fingerboard. So getting those edges as well, make sure they're nice and smooth. Yeah, nice. I know this isn't very interesting to watch, but the details are important. Right, so go over the back edge now, or sides and the back. That's so nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, really worry too much about the overall finish, although I want it good. As I said, I'll be going over it again. Yeah, I'll just go up to the 800 for now. That will be fine. Wow, that's nice. Yeah, so as I said, I've gone over this shaft with up to 400. I'll leave that as it is for now. A, most of it's going to be inside the body. B, as I said, I want, you know, fairly rough finish for the glue to bond to, and you know, I'll do the final sanding when I do the final sanding. But that is really nice now. That fingerboard is like glass. In fact, I'm just going to go over that with 1,000. Got to be done. Just to give myself an idea of just how smooth it can get. I mean, it's at the point now it's actually shining. I can see the light shining off it, which tells me that that is really, really smooth. Oh wow. I've got to do it. 1,500. Got to do it. I mean, that's basically polishing it now. Wow. Awesome. I just hope this has all gone fairly smoothly so far. One or two very, very minor hiccups, but nothing I couldn't resolve. Just hope the rest of it goes this well. Dang, that's smooth. Yep, happy with that. Right, so how are we doing for time? Time's good. Really, let me just think, because I think I'm at the stage of gluing it into the body now, the coconut shell. But let me just think very carefully first to make sure I'm not missing anything that I need to do before that. Let me just dry fit it, see how we're looking. Right, let's make sure that's straight. A bit more. Too much. Springing back. It keeps. So this is obviously something I'll need to make sure I get perfectly right when I glue it up. It's easy to do. Well, I can say that, but it keeps too far one way, then too far the other way. That's about right. Okay, so that's how it's looking right now. And the light's not great here. I'm really happy with that. And just to get an idea of the angle, I'm going to put a straight edge on across the top of the bowl, as it were, and then we can see, I don't know how well you can see, it just gradually tapers towards the nut end. This straight edge isn't long enough to go right to the top when I'm across the bowl there, but I can tell that by the time we get to where the nut will be, we're going to be about 1 millimetre, maybe 1.5 off the surface there. It's absolutely perfect. I'm really happy with that. So already it's starting to look a little bit like a musical instrument. Who'd have thought it? Actually, while I've got this in here now, I'm going to just make some pencil lines where this goes through. So I don't want to get too much glue all over this. So I'll get my fine mechanical pencil and just draw some lines around the shaft where it's going through. Say that. The pencil's not working. I've got another one in there. How about that one? Yep, that's working. Okay. So I'm just drawing a very fine line around the shaft where it goes through the body. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is drawing a line around the contour of the body on the shaft itself, just to give me an idea of where I should put the glue so that I don't end up putting too much on. I'm not going to be able to get around the back of the inside there, but as long as I just do this top half, it should be good enough. Get the idea of where it's going. Get as far around as I can. Okay, and the bottom. Yeah, I have to say that this job so far has gone better than I was anticipating. I know it is a relatively easy job, to be fair. Oh, excuse me. But, you know, there are always little problems that come up. But I've done so many of this type of thing now. You know, this kind of work. I know the pitfalls, I know some of the ways around it. You're obviously always learning new things, usually from mistakes or mishaps. I need new lead in my pencil. Ow. Okay. Did I get enough on there? Not really. Let me try again with this one. Okay. Right. So let's take that out now and see where my pencil line is. Okay. I don't know if you can see. Let me just turn that light a bit. So this end, we've got the pencil line going around there and here. That's pretty good, actually. So, how's time? Okay. So I think, as I said, I do have a way of strengthening the joint where the shaft goes through the body, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to glue this in, you know, using these pencil lines to show where the glue is going to go here. I'm going to glue it in. It's not going to be particularly strong at that stage, but I want to let it set up like that before I do the strengthening method, because I don't want it all moving around while I'm doing that, because it will just be a blooming nightmare. And you know, although you can see there's not much gluing surface on there, so you know, it's not going to be a particularly strong joint, but provided I get, you know, some glue on there, it should be strong enough to hold while I do the strengthening technique afterwards. So I'm just going to fill in these lines where I couldn't get behind. Wow, these pencils, man, are driving me mad. Yeah, there's not much gluing surface there, but it will be strong enough to, you know, to hold in place while I do the strengthening method afterwards. So I'm not too concerned about that. And it will definitely need it, because there's so little, you know, gluing surface area here. It will certainly need a bit of extra help. So yeah, I'm going to need need to put the top end through first and then get the glue on both parts and then set it in place. So, let me just think. Do I want to do anything else to this before I glue this neck in place? See, I've got the neck shaped and sanded. No, I don't think so. I think we are at that stage. I always like to double check and triple check before I do a permanent glue job. Oh, incidentally, I don't know if I mentioned before, but you know, it was important to make sure that I had this hole at the bottom, you know, sort of in the middle sideways, so we didn't have this cocked to one side. But it was a lot more important to get the angle this way, which I managed to do more or less by eye, so I'm pretty happy with that. Right, let me grab a little paintbrush. Is that one any good? That will be better. Okay. Because I don't want glue everywhere here, but I do obviously, you know, I want enough to. I think I'm just going to put it on a bit of paper. Just put it on the back of this 600, and just dab it on from there, rather than trying to dab it on here and make a right old mess. Right. So here we go. Getting the glue on. So as with all the glue surfaces, you know, the most important thing is 100% coverage. We don't need to worry about overspill, squeeze out, whatever. There will be some. That's fine. Whoop, too much there. I just want to make sure I've got enough glue on here to make sure it is going to set. That looks good. So do the top end now. Trying not to make too much mess. Actually, I think this will be fairly strong. You know, there is enough surface to get a good glue joint. But you know, because of what this thing is and what it will be used for, I will need to strengthen these joints afterwards. All right, so, oh, you didn't see what I was doing there, sorry. So, you know, I put all the glue on or between the pencil marks now. So I'm now going to put the shaft all the way through, get it into position. Let's make sure it's straight, kind of straight. I'm going to push it in a little bit more, make sure that's wedged in. Oi! Whoa, that scared me a bit. We've actually gone past the original pencil mark now, but that's fine. I know it's wedged in there now. That's looking pretty good actually. Let's just get rid of that paintbrush. Oh, actually, no. I might need to spread a little bit more glue around when I've got this where I want it. Let's just twist that a little bit. Just a touch. Come on. Not that much. Oh, it's gone too far now. Let's do it that way. Oh, that's nice and tight. Right, that looks pretty good. Yeah, happy with that. And actually, it does look as though yeah, it's kind of difficult to see in there. It looks as though we've got decent glue in all the areas. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually, better than I was expecting, I have to be honest. I'm just going to dab a little bit more glue around the shaft inside. I don't need it on the outside, we've got decent coverage there, and also I don't want to make too much mess. So I'm just going to dab a little bit more glue around there, make sure we've got a decent seal. So not Don't want to make too much mess. Yeah, and again with the top one as well. It's looking pretty good though, I've got to say. I think that's going to be stronger than I was expecting. I can't see a thing. Well, this is a nice stage to be at, gluing the neck in place. It's quite good because this brush, the bristles have got a real curve on them, so I think it means I can get right the way around the back of that shaft, which is pretty handy. Just missed a bit right at the back. It's hard to get the light in there to see what I'm doing. That's got it. That's got it. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's try and clean up a little bit of the excess there. Actually, I think that's going to end up nice and strong. So I need a slight twist on that.